to make the playoffs. I get that. And the Rangers need to keep winning games. And I think we all understand that. But my question to go along with that is, can the Rangers get healthy by the end of the regular season? Because if you think about it, the Rangers had 6 All-Stars this season, right? But 4 of them, Josh Jung, Corey Seager, Nathan Eovaldi, and Jonah Heim, have already missed time. And that's an astonishing injury rate, especially given that this team has still been playing pretty well. Do you believe that the Rangers can get healthy by the end of the regular season?
No. Nobody ever does.
Okay.
How did the Atlanta Braves win the World Series without Ronald Acuna Jr.? Last year they had a really good year and Ozzie Albies was out. It's going to happen. And then you could go down to, like, we don't even remember who Mike Soroka is, but he was their ace pitcher like 3 years ago who's never been back because of injury. Like, no, it's just one of those things where teams, almost every team will make the playoffs with a major player or pitcher out. So now, if you're asking me, will Josh Jung be 100%? I think he'll be 100%, but I don't know what kind of rhythm he's going to be in. It is rare. What Corey Seager's doing confuses people.
Confuses everybody,
And then Josh Jung has to take the what the hell's wrong with you if you come back and go like 1 for 14 if you don't get to go on a minor league rehab assignment, because I know that the minor leagues go longer now. They go to, like, I'm going to guess September 20th, and then they start playoffs. I have not looked at kind of Frisco's schedule, but it used to be on September 1st, all minor league baseball was done, and then you were in the playoffs. And usually players wouldn't go down and do playoff rehab. Sometimes I always feel like that's kind of cheating if I go down there and send them Corey Seager for the AA World Series.
Sure.
But I look at it and go, no, we're going to be dinged up. But right now, Tampa Bay, we went over it yesterday or the day before. McClanahan's done.
Yep.
He's not coming back.
Yep.
And they can't replace him because the trade deadline's over. And they lost a couple of other major starters in their rotation earlier in the year. So I look at it, and obviously Jacob deGrom's not coming back, but I look at it and go, hey, something else is going to happen to the Rangers. It's August 11th. There's going to be another person get hurt. Is Nate Eovaldi going to be healthy going into the playoffs? I'd give that at best a 50-50.
Okay. Because you think he won't be back at all, or because you think
no, I think he'll come back. I just don't know. And if you look at Eovaldi's career, he's an injury-riddled career. That's why you got him on a 2-year contract. So, you start looking at things, and it usually, whatever usually happens, usually plays out by a 6-month period. There's always surprises.
Yep.
But that's why they're surprises, because it didn't end up being what you thought. So I look at the Rangers and go, no, hopefully you're as healthy as possible or more healthy than the other teams.
This might be a discussion for another day, but I think we got some time to kind of chop it up a little bit. Let's just go with those 4 that I mentioned. Jung, Seager, Eovaldi, Heim all have made immense contributions to the team this year. You get to choose the order in which they come back, or their health, or however you want to describe it. How is that breakdown going for you?
Seager, number 1. He's our best player.
I'm telling you, I realize he's not going to win, or he wouldn't have won because of the historic nature of the Ohtani season. But I think Corey Seager, had he not been hurt, would far and away be the second candidate for AL MVP.
Yeah. I agree with you. And the other thing, too, is like for Corey Seager, remember a few years ago when we signed him, it was like, dude, love him. But, man, he feels like he misses quite a bit of time. Like the Dodgers are always like for 30 or 40 games having to figure out who's going to play shortstop and is Seager going to be ready for the playoffs. And so, that's kind of playing out. But I think he's number 1. Number 2 is Nate Eovaldi.
That's what I think, too.
Because if you can go into the playoffs and you have a healthy, in whatever order they end up being come playoff time, but if you have a healthy Scherzer, Montgomery, and Eovaldi, if you have those 3 guys healthy and pitching pretty well going into the playoffs, you can beat anybody in the American League. The reason I say American League is I just look on paper, the Braves are way better than everybody.
Sure.
So, but I look at the American League and go, if you have those 3 guys pitching in a 3-game series, in a 5-game series, and in a 7-game series, you have a great chance to win those series.
Do you go I'm going Heim next.
I think so, because also the catching, I thought there was a pitch the other day that Scherzer threw that was a strike, that the umpire called it a ball, and this is not fair to Garver at all. This is not fair to him. I thought, would Haima got that a strike?
Yeah.
Because it was right on the edge. It was a borderline strike. I thought it was more of a strike than a ball. And I just thought to myself, Jonah has the stats that say he makes those ball strikes a lot. And it's nothing against Garver, but I was just thinking to myself, if Haim isn't able to catch come playoff time, are there going to be borderline pitches where an at-bat changes? Because instead of it going to 1-1, it ends up being 2-0. Well, that's a big difference in an at-bat, that situation.
Now, this question from the 206, I think there is a little merit here, but there's an issue that goes along with it. Do you think maybe it's a little bit of a blessing in disguise with our guys getting hurt, but it's not season ending, giving them somewhat of a rest? The person who jumps to mind for that is Josh Jung, just because you're talking about a big extension of the baseball he's played. The issue that I run into is very fundamentally and very obviously is these guys are a big part of why you've won all these games, and you don't want to sacrifice positioning. Like, I'm not assuming this team will make the playoffs. I believe they will make the playoffs, but you can't pack it up right now. You'll be screwed, and you won't make the playoffs.
Yeah, I think you try to look at things optimistically or in a positive light. You don't want these guys to get hurt. You'd rather just give them more off days on the games you are playing. And now for Corey Seager, he is hurt. Now he's playing through injury, but saying, hey, we're not going to play you in Oakland. Then we have the off day. And then tonight we're playing in San Francisco. And they're really hoping that 48 hours really helps his hand and makes it feel better down the stretch here. But it's better to just go I'm going to give you a day off once a week. I'm going to, and maybe try to back it up with an off day where I give you 2 days off rather than, I think what's really tough about baseball, and especially for a 25-year-old rookie, is to have 6 to 8 weeks off rehabbing and then go, all right, back to 95 mile an hour, moving fastballs, back to sliders. You need to know your zone really well. You need to lay off these pitches. You need to have your timing because we're down to 10 games left in the season. And let's just say you're tied with the Astros with 10 games left on both sides. We really need everybody playing at their best to win this thing. And that's a lot to ask of a person who is now I guess he has dealt with coming back from injury before. So he does have experience with that.
I wanted to throw this out there. We didn't get a chance to mention it the other day. I think it is truly astonishing. The Rangers, they're back in action tonight. Remember, late start with the Apple TV, 9:15, but you can still hear it right here on the fan. They have 47 games left, right, Mike? 47.
Okay.
They've already matched their win total from last year. Just think about that for a second. There are 47 games left, and the Texas Rangers have the same amount of wins as they did last year, and they hit that total on August 8th. So I realize they've bought a lot of players. I realize they spent a lot of money. But if you want to see the progress this team has made, you got 47 games, same number of wins. There's your progress right there.
That is very good. Now, the Rangers have added a lot of money, free agents to this team to get to this point, but it has played out better than I thought. I mean, look, I hope I'm really wrong. I better be wrong on this because I picked them to win 84 games and just miss the playoffs.
That would be a disappointment.
That would be a really tough August and September if they only got to 84 wins at this point. They need to win, my opinion, they need to win 20 more games, and I think they'll make the playoffs. Now, that would not win the division at all.
Nope.
If they go 20, you're saying 20 and 27 with 47 to go, that will not win the division. In fact, if they get to 22 wins and get to 90 wins, that will not win the division.
At least 24, right?
I think yes. I think 24 and 23 gives you a good chance to win the division. Obviously, those 3 games against Houston are important. Remember, Houston has won 6 against you already. So if they win one more game in that 3-game homestand, September 4th through the 6th, if Houston wins one of those games, they have the tiebreaker at the end of the year if you have the same record. I thought this was interesting from G-Bag yesterday driving home from work, is that the Rangers have played Oakland 10 times and Houston has played them 10 times, and that you're 7-3 and they're 9-1. Now, look, you still have a 2.5 game lead. Luckily, Baltimore took care of business yesterday, but you know, you'd hate to see yourself.
4.5 would feel a lot better, right?
I mean, honestly, losing 3 out of 10 games to Oakland is not good.
Yeah.
Like, that's bad. I hate saying that, but you should be 9-1 against that team. It happens. You lose games, but I just I thought that was an interesting stat, or just an interesting, something that G-Bag saw, as I'm losing words right now. Observation would be the word.
I think that was my fault. I say 94 wins to win this division.
94?
That's what I think it's going to take.